if I were going to rewrite the book, I'd probably put a chapter in there about owls. But I do have just a couple stories I'd like to share with you about owls. Did you hear about the owl that got laryngitis? He didn't give a hoot about anything. That sounds like a preacher did. Sorry. I wanted to share with you about the little girl down south who came running into the house and said, "Mama, Mama, did you know that an owl is way far smarter than an old chicken?" Well, they raised chickens on their farm, and the mama was upset that the little girl was mean-mouthing chickens, you know. And she said, "What are you talking about?" And the little girl put her hands on her hips and said, "An owl is just way far smarter than a dumb old chicken." And the mama says, "No, that's not true." And the little girl put both hands on her hips and said, "Surely and purely is. Did you ever hear Kentucky Fried Owl?" One more quick story, and this is about a parrot, and I don't have a parrot chapter in my book either, but I grew up with 4 older brothers, so this story kind of caught my eye when I read it. There were 4 brothers who were all very successful, doctors and lawyers, and they had hoity-toity jobs and thought they had arrived, you know. They had a sweet little mama who had raised those 4 boys, and those 4 boys had so much money, and mama was, you know, just kind of a sweet little old lady that didn't have a whole lot of money, and year in and year out, the guys would try to outdo each other when it came to mama's birthday. And so mama's birthday had just happened, and none of the boys went home for it, but they got her big gifts. You know, mama would have rather had them come home. But anyway, the 4 brothers met in a big city, and they decided they would have dinner together. And as they always did, and as my 4 brothers always do, they try to outdo each other. They're all very competitive, and they, you know, kind of cocky. Well, Martin was the oldest brother, and he said, "You guys, I know you probably tried to please Mama on her birthday, but I outdid all of yous because I got her a 15,000 square foot home. I had it built on her property, and it is drop dead gorgeous. It's the most beautiful home you've ever seen. Top that if you can." Milton, the second brother, said, "Well, yeah, Martin, I heard about that home you had built for Mama, but I decided that I would add something to that home." He said, "You did not have a theater put in the home, and so I had a theater built into the home. $100,000 theater with Dolby surround sound and seating for 50 people, and she can have movies and she can just enjoy that theater." Well, Michael was the third brother, and he said, "Yeah, you guys tried, but I called my Mercedes dealer and had them deliver a Mercedes-Benz to Mama's driveway. And I'm sure she's going to be more thrilled with that than anybody." Well, Melvin was the baby of the family, and Melvin said, "You know, you guys, I understand that you tried to please Mama, but I'm pretty sure I pleased her more than you did this year." He said, "You know how Mama loves to read the Bible all the time, and her eyesight's getting not so good anymore." He said, "I was at a place here about 6 months ago, and I met a pastor who told me he had a parrot that had the entire Bible memorized." And he said, I said to him, "I need to buy that for my mama." And the pastor said, "Oh no, I'm sorry, the parrot's not for sale." He said it took 12 theologians about 10 years to teach the parrot the entire Bible. And he said, not only that, but you can walk up to the parrot's cage and give any reference out of the Bible. Like, for example, you could say Matthew 6:33, and the parrot would start with, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness," and it will go on until you stop it. And he said, and then you can go up to it and you can say Genesis, 12:1, and it starts there. This parrot is the smartest bird on the face of the earth. He said, well, I knew I had to get that bird for Mama, and so he said, I pledged to give $100,000 a year for the next 20 years to that man's church, and he gave me the parrot, and I sent it to Mama. And the guys were just flabbergasted, and they sat there and said, well, okay, I guess you outdid us this year. Well, Mama was, like I said, a sweet little old lady, and she decided that she would, like she'd always tried to teach the boys, she would send out thank you notes. And so she sent thank you notes to the boys, and she said, Dear Martin, the house that you got me is wonderful, but it's too big. So I live in one room. Thanks anyway. Then she said, Dear Milton, the theater that you had built into the house is nice. It will seat 50 people. All my friends are dead. I can't see or hear, and so it was a nice gesture. Thank you anyway. And then she wrote to Michael. She said, Dear Michael, the car is absolutely beautiful, but I'm too old to travel. I stay home and I have all my groceries delivered. It looks nice sitting in the driveway, though. Thank you anyway. And then to the baby, she wrote, Dearest Melvin, you were the only son to have the good sense to give a little thought to your gift. Thank you so much. The chicken was delicious.